Good day, viewers. Welcome to today's talk show on politics. I remain your host, Oko Edward, known as Rich Life. We are here live at Dreamer Studio. Today, we'll be talking about the political happenings across the globe. We'll be focusing more on the politics in Nigeria and our political leaders, and their inability to accept criticism from their masses whom they govern. Here on the studio, we have a special guest who will be discussing and throwing more light on issues that has been happening as regards to criticizing government and the actions that have been taken against the masses. Here in the studio with me, I have Mr. Yusuf. You are welcome to the studio.
Thank you very much.
I'm happy to have you here.
It's good to be here.
Yes, Mr. Yusuf, we all are Nigerians, and we know how the country is, how our politicians, they operate, what they are capable of doing, and things they have already done. And I want us to talk about the issue of them trying to silence criticism. You know, we have a lot of cases ongoing now, currently, that when the masses whom they govern try to raise voices to point out some issues of a particular concern in this country, you see the politicians going against them. What is your take on this?
Thank you very much for that question. Yeah, we've been seeing this trend repeating itself over and over and over, and it's becoming really, really concerning. And I think Nigerians, we need to start following up with this. We need to start speaking up. Because if you feel like today, okay, it's not happening to me, you don't know what's going to happen to tomorrow. We elected these people into government, so we put them into government, so they have every right to tell them where they are not doing it right or where they are getting it wrong, so that they can adjust and do better. So now, in a situation whereby a governor or a senator or a president is not doing what he or she is supposed to do, and a member of the public or a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria tries to speak up against that, you are now witch hunting this person. It's very wrong, irrespective of the political inclination. The fact that if I'm a PDP supporter or I'm a Labour Party supporter, it does not mean that because our president is the opposite party, I cannot speak. It does not mean that me speaking up is me trying to undermine the administration. No, it's me speaking up as a Nigerian. Being a Nigerian comes first before any other thing, any other political. Now we have a lot of cases. I'll give you a couple of examples. Let's start with the issue of the issue going on between the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, His Excellency Dapo Abiodun, and a pastor, a cleric.
Okay.
A cleric by the name Olawole. I don't really remember the second name. Yeah. This man has been, as far as I'm concerned, I've been following this man since I think around the mid 2025.
Okay.
And this man has been advocating for good governance, especially in terms of infrastructure. You understand? And from what I learned, this man has been using his own personal phone. It takes a lot. It takes a lot as a citizen for you to leave the comfort of your home,
Yes.
fuel your car, take like a couple of your friends or your workers and start driving around the state just to showcase the decaying level of infrastructure. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Now, let's not forget that in the process of doing this, it's incurring a lot of expenses. Are you going to talk about the fuel? Are you going to talk about the damages that people
the risk
of life?
Yeah.
Then also the damages that the damages that his car was also because remember we are talking about bad roads here. You know, in terms of infrastructure, Ogun State is zero at this point in time. We have to be honest with ourselves, and let's not also forget that this state is a state. I'm not going to say one of the states. I think this Ogun State is the highest generating in terms of revenue. It generates the highest amount of revenue to the federal government because that is where we have about 60% of the industry that are in Nigeria. That's where they are situated.
Exactly.
Name any of them, they are all there. And they are all paying taxes to the federal government, they are paying taxes to the state government, and everything is. And let's not also forget that when the Mr. President came into power, the first thing he did was to do what? Was to remove subsidy. Yeah, was to remove subsidy so that they can use that money, so that the money that they are using to pay subsidy can now be put into development of infrastructure and other things. Now, from what I learned, each state government is now collecting, I think, times 3 or times 4 what they use, allocation of what they used to collect in the past, which means that development is expected to reach the grassroots.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? Now, this man, this cleric, Pastor Olawe, has been using his platform to, to call the attention of the governor to the bad roads and in different parts of the state. In fact, he has not even gone to different parts. He's still on Songo, Ota, Ifo, all those axes. He's still on that axis. And they have already called him, the DSS have already invited him 3 times. The last one, they detained him for, I think, about 3 days or thereabouts. So much that people had to come in and, start shouting, hey, you need to leave this man and all that before they later release him. Why? Why are our leaders doing this? When you need our vote, you come to us where we are. You speak to us you speak to us in calm tone. You speak to us like you assure us that you are here to serve us. Then the moment you get there, we can't say what you want you can't say what you want again. If we try to say anything, the next thing is for you to start using DSS police to chase us up and down. That is one case. The other one is the case between the federal government and Omoyele Sowore. That case has been adjourned to February now. The last hearing, what happened in the last hearing was really funny because while the case was going on, the representative, or let me say the lawyer to Omoyele presented a video evidence in court, which was played in court. Now, what does this video evidence contain? It actually shows a video of Reno Omokri, the former the aide. The leader appointed, yes. Used to be aide to the former president, President Ebele Jonathan. Now, this man in 2023, in the video shows this man calling the president, our current president, President Bola Ahmed, calling him a DRUG baron. Don't let me call the word because it's a disgrace to be calling the president of the nation that kind of name. You called him that, and you even went as far as saying that you have evidence to back that up. That if anybody doubts you, they should come to you in person. You provide the evidence. That's not. Then you finally, in the video, you finally concluded by saying that he will never align politically with the president, with the current president. Now, somebody that said such a thing, now the question is, how did we arrive at the point where the same person is now being appointed as an ambassador to represent Nigeria to a foreign nation? Whereas you are not trying Omoyele Sowore for the same thing that this man, for the same crime that this man committed. And what was the offense of Sowore? The offense was that he called the president a criminal. He said the president is a criminal. That's it. So now, as Nigerians that we all are, let us weigh what Sowore said. I'm not trying to say what Sowore said is right or that he was supposed to say it, but let's try to weigh what he said and what the other man said. Is there any difference? No. If you're even looking at it critically, I think what the other man said has the potential to ruin the president's credibility. than what this other man said. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah. So, sorry, Mr. Yusuf. Let me interject.
Yes.
But you know, as at the time, Reno accused, or let's say make a claim that the president is a DRG, he wasn't the president then. But now, Sowore calling the president a criminal, knowing fully well that he's now the president. Don't you think it is very wrong for a citizen to call your president a criminal? Just like American president now. The citizen of America just come and call Trump, you're a criminal. You have a proof. Now you cite him back to when he wasn't a president. Why you accuse him why he's a president? I don't think that this is a two different scenario.
Now, I think I would disagree with that. Because he made the statement in 2023. And we know 2023 was the same year that the president came
prior to the election.
Yeah, prior to the election. Mm-hmm. Now, during this period, it was already becoming obvious that Bola Ahmed Tinubu was going to emerge as the president. It was becoming, at the time he made that statement. You understand? You know, because he's making that statement out of how would I call it now? You know, when you are losing something, you know, you become frustrated, so you try to say all kinds of things, whether true or just to.
He was actually speaking as an opposition.
As an opposition, thank you very much. Just discredit the other person, the other part. So if you look at it critically, the statement had the power to do more damage as at that time than what Sowore said. Because at that time, that statement alone could ruin the whole thing for the president. Because someone said, okay, your president or whoever you're trying, this person that is coming up that is about to be named the president of Nigeria is so. At that time, at that critical time, that could even result in civil unrest. Because it's a very, very delicate, at that point in time, we know how everyone was hot at that time. It was a very delicate period to make that kind of statement. You get what I'm saying? Yes, now, come back to what Sowore said. Sowore said the president is a criminal. Now, somebody can be a criminal for different reasons. Not necessarily something that is, you know, that has to do with killing somebody or doing something that kills somebody or something that, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Yes.
For example, you can say someone is a criminal. For example, you can say, okay, maybe because the president comes into power, the next thing they did was subsidy is gone. And people started, you know, threw the country into pandemonium.
Okay, sorry, Mr. Yusuf. I have to cut you short there. We already get your point. Yes. I understand where you are driving now. But I want to get from your own opinion.
Yes.
How do you see this name calling of the president a criminal or whatever? How do you see it affect Nigeria internationally? How does the outside Nigerians, other countries see us based on the fact that even a president appointee has once called the president a criminal and he rewarded them with an appointment? So what does that have to say about Nigeria as a country?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Very, very good question. Yeah, I think it has a whole lot. It has a whole lot to say about the country because it's number one. The first thing I would like us to highlight here is that the current administration is fond of one thing, and that is selective justice. You know, selective justice, and that is what we see in the case of the federal government's issue with Reno Omokri and Sowore. That's number one. Then number two, you know, we also have to look outward if we are trying to talk about this, because a lot of presidents of different countries have been called all sorts of names. You know, take Trump for example. Trump has been called a criminal,
the pedophile, so many names.
The evade tax, you know, so many.
People are still struggling with Epstein files and all that.
Exactly. So the same thing with Putin. You know, Putin has been called a dictator, The same thing with the North Korean president. He has no respect for human life. He kills at will and all those kind of things. So it's not a new thing. It's a normal thing. So even if the only reason why I believe that it might have some substance of effect on the country is the fact that this administration is selectively pursuing justice. You understand? What is good for the goose should be good for the world. So if you are going after this person because he says so thing, and you have Mr. B, you have Mr. A. Mr. A says something, and Mr. B says similar thing. You cannot leave Mr. A, pardon Mr. A, and go for B.
Irrespective of who he is.
It's either you pardon the two of them, you overlook it, or if you're going for Mr. A, you go for Mr. B too. And that is the only thing where I believe, it could kind of depict or represent Nigeria in a bad light. But aside from that, I think it's normal thing that people call president across the world different names.
That is a very enlightening moment from Mr. Yusuf. You have said well, and you have proven to us that indeed this fight of witch hunting of the masses for speaking out should not be to a particular person or because of his own position or because it doesn't align with your policy. You now want to witch hunting and then reward the one that is now on your side. You get? So Nigerian leaders should be more understanding to realize that opposition is what makes democracy to foster. It's what makes democracy, it makes democracy, the mass to enjoy the dividend of democracy. Democracy is not just about tying of road, giving us amendments, but freedom of speech. Allow us to air our mind. In this country now, people are scared of speaking up. When you say something, the next day they pick you. If you're on X, the formerly known Twitter, you see a lot of cases like this that the newspaper you say, we can't hear from this guy again. We learned that they pick him up. Because of what? Because a single tweet. Probably he said, and the president is not doing this, or the governor is not doing this. The person just go missing.
Sorry to cut you short.
Yes.
If we decide to start listing out scenarios like that, in fact, we are going to
we're not going to go home.
Because there are so many scenarios.
Exactly.
So many.
Yeah. So because of time not on our side, so I'm trying to give you just 1 minute. 1 minute to tell us what ways or what can be done for government to realize the importance of criticism in our society. Just tell us.
All right, I think firstly, politically elected leaders should take their vow seriously. Your vow, when you are being sworn in, is not just for you to just read a vow. Take it seriously. You are in that position to serve the people. And as a good leader, you must always, pay attention to what your followers are saying. You understand? Don't let what your followers are saying, don't take it as a way of them trying to undermine you. You should always, just see yourself as a father, okay? As a father that has many children to take care of. So when your children are complaining about this, about that, you're supposed to, give listening ear, pay attention to what they need, and do your best to work. You might not be able to do everything, but do your best to do the little that you can do.
That is the word. Do your best as a politician and do the ones you can do. That's a word from Yusuf. Mr. Yusuf, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
We appreciate for your presence. Moving away from Mr. Yusuf, who has enlightened us on the need for criticism, for our leaders to accept it, for them to be able to know what the masses actually want and where they are getting it wrong. So the word there is they should do their best and see as much as they can. Now, we're going to draw the curtain for today. We have had enough and we promise that we'll bring you more. Stay tuned and don't go away because we have a lot of packages for you. I remain your host, Oko Edward, known as Switchline, here at Vima Studio. Thank you and stay tuned.